So, the question is about gender roles. First of all, excuse my face, really bad sunburn. Um, I suppose the first thing to think about is that gender roles have had to change because the role of women has changed. Women have control to some degree over their reproductive ability, and there has been some equanimity in the ability for women to generate similar income. It's still not fair, but it's a lot closer than it was. And there are myriad laws and social mores out there that are attempting to create an equal playing field. Also, the nature of work has changed to some degree. Um, we're not plowing fields with mules for the most part. We're doing work that is aided by machinery and technology. So brute strength isn't the primary motive. We know that physiologically men tend to have more, bursts of strength. Women tend to have more endurance. If anything, this particular um, emphasis towards intellectual pursuits and the lack of necessity of brute strength actually helps women. And whether it's because of the emphasis in schooling and in um, I can't think of the right word, but I think women almost twice as many are in college as men. So there's an entire change in that regard. So the roles have had to change because the nature of women in the workplace has changed. That being said, there are certain strengths that exist. Men are just naturally tend to be more focused, almost more one-dimensional. This is a strength. It can also be a weakness. Women tend to be much better at doing multiple things at the same time. They tend to be more observant. They tend to be more in touch with the emotional things that are going inside them and other people. Um, so these are different strengths that can be augmented but also can be learned. I think the main takeaway from my point would be that the whole gender role thing, it's important for us to understand them and understand our strengths and weaknesses, but it's more important to understand the person that you're dealing with, and it's more important to transcend gender roles going in the future. Um, as as the role of gender becomes less necessary for work, um, I'm a chef, and yes, you could say that in general they tend to be more men that work behind the line with the heat and the pressure, that kind of thing. There also tends to be more women that work as pastry chefs because of the fine motor coordination, patience, and understanding the beauty, ability to work long hours that being a pastry chef requires. So even though there are certain stereotypical strengths in every realm, the big thing is for us to transcend gender roles and focus on who and what we are and who and what we are good at. And hopefully, as even people who are of the gay community, as their role becomes less marginalized and more mainstream, they can spend less time talking about the fact that they like to be with people of the same sex and more time just about talking about their lives in general once their basic needs have been met and they're not having to fight for equal rights as much. So that would be our hope, would be that we would transcend gender roles as time goes in the future and focus on who and what we are